Hey, this is Skullgirdle, and welcome to Stamping Out Racism in the Goth Community Sonsombre edition. So, a while back, actually in September, it was discovered that Brandon Pybus of Sonsombre had a bunch of very right wing and Confederate likes. I forget at the time what triggered this to be investigated, but it was investigated, and at the time, that's the interview I have showing right now. I'll have the links in the description box. Ashley Peel of Bloodstream decided to ask Brandon himself, and he said that it was politically based in the time before Trump was elected, that he wanted to see both sides of politics. All of the links were right wing, all of them, every single one of them. However, I and many others gave him the benefit of the doubt at the time that it was in fact politically minded, because I could actually see someone getting out of the military, because it was real obvious there was a military background there too, and taking some time to kind of shed away the beliefs of everybody around you. And also, if you're actually watching one side of the news but can't deal with actually watching it and to just check here and there, I guess I could see that. Although a like means that you're going to see that shit all the fucking time. At the time, he was canceled by some people. It's not canceled. It's consequences. It is fucking consequences. It's not cancel culture. It is consequences culture for your actions. And you know what? I've had to pay for actions from long in my past too. Anyway, so now this interview comes out. Again, I'll share it in the comments. And they discuss how they have now found that Brandon is still a card-carrying member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, which is, by its own definition, a Confederate heritage group. They do have a couple of ties to some pretty fucking racist motherfuckers out there. And I am in doubt that it is wholly just heritage. And you can see I've got some tabs here, and I'm going to discuss that with you. Well, 2 days later, finally, Sonsombre puts out an apology, which is this right here that you can read. You can actually go online. You can find it there. It has 148 comments when I copied it earlier today just to make sure I could get it. It now has 430 something, or I forget. It's over 400 comments. This apology is not well received, because this apology states something about heritage and genealogy and the battlefield. And at some point, it was stated that Brandon is in this organization to find members of his genealogy that he couldn't find any other way. This is the only way. 6 years of membership to find a little bit of genealogy. And also in the US, I don't know if you have this in other places, we have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Mormons have one of the most comprehensive genealogy databases in the world, and certainly for US citizens. And most of this information can probably be found that way. My question here is, number one, if the first answer was politics, why is it now suddenly heritage? And number two, lots of people can find family heritage without going through organizations with racist ties. For instance, my last name is Reich, as in Reich, as in the third. Now, I realize that that means empire, etc., but I have some very, very German blood in me. I have very recent ties to Germany, and I am quite confident that I am related to Nazis, soldiers from World War II, and probably German soldiers from World War I. My family's been here since about World War I, but I'm pretty sure that I have familial ties somewhere with Nazi soldiers. I would not join a Nazi group to find them. Maybe it's a weak analogy, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, let me get this next one up. This is Sonsombre's apology. This is Shadow Assembly, who is Michael Lewis of Chronic Twilight, saying that he's still going to play with Brandon, and that's fine. That's his choice. But my problem with this, it's like social media likes aren't the way, politics, blah, 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 blah. Well, this is a white man statement. Yes, I'm white. I know that. I understand that. And it may seem like hypocrisy, but I could never say something like that. I would never do something that I knew hurt my marginalized subscribers. I would never do that. I can't even imagine. And I'm on here right now making this video to let my marginalized, my BIPOC, for those who don't know, Black, Indigenous, people of color, my LGBTQIA plus, PD, etc. I have to let my subscribers know that I support them. It's important to me. It's important to, I hope, them. And it's important to making the world a better fucking place. Sorry, I got a little pissed there. And along comes, I think this is the Kentucky Vampires came out and they refuted. They have cut all ties. Just so you know, Kentucky Vampires had very close ties to Sonsombre and they have cut those ties. Abbas, the singer, was like, nope, we refute this yesterday. I think it was yesterday, or day before yesterday. I mean, he was quick. And then the band came out and said, we can't continue to support this. So that means that they're, whoops, sorry, here's the links, I swear. Let me get these off the page. So that means that their album with post-Gothic apparently had ties back to Sonsombre and Brandon, and that will no longer be going out. So we're seeing some things that are costing people. Sonsombre is losing fans, they're losing gigs, etc. Mostly because those two stories don't jive. The things that were promised were not done. Some of those white supremacists are still in there. So why are people so fucking upset about this tie to a Confederate group? Here's your trigger warning. I'm about to pull this down and you're going to see Confederate flags. If that freaks you out, if it hurts you, please just fucking look away if you want to listen, or just cut the video off. That's fine. I totally understand that. You can choose whatever you watch, and I don't want you to be hurt by this because I know that the Confederate flag, it makes me cringe. And I'm a fucking white person, and I'm just like, ooh, every time I see one, I'm like this. And so for the people who it truly hurts and devastates, here it comes. God damn it. So I'm going to get rid of these. There you go. This is the organization that is under contention. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. I hope that didn't sound too bad. The Sons of Confederate Veterans. And to be a member, you got to pay to be a member. So you would have to want that genealogy. And you have to prove genealogy for this organization. And if you want to see what they're about, you can come and find, and here's the membership. You see, it's weird. It's kind of an interesting design, but it is just full of membership shit. All right. So this site says in there, did I get it? Did I get it? Did I find the about? The citizen soldiers who fought for the Confederacy personified the best qualities of America. Preservation of liberty and freedom. Okay, just a real short, almost non-existent history lesson. I found a place on this site that actually shows, let's see, I know I'm terrible. I wasn't going to show this to you guys because it's hard to figure out, hard to find. I had it in there. Doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't. Education committee papers. Okay, I think it's this. If it will open, probably my internet's going to croak on me at this time. Okay. So you can see that they have education. Yeah, shit about white. They just have like, hey, here's your race. Here we're talking about. Okay, so they're very concerned with race. And I'm very concerned with this. That says Emancipation, President Lincoln's, they say president, first of all, Emancipation Proclamation did not free a single slave issued at the time when the Confederacy seemed to be winning the war. When the Confederacy seemed to be winning the war. I went and looked at the Emancipation Proclamation because I want to make sure that I have, some semblance of an idea of what's going on. We're going to open, let me just get back to this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to confuse y'all. And the Emancipation Proclamation specifically freed slaves in the Confederacy. It did not free slaves in the Union. I assume that at the time it was done kind of like an emergency type thing of, we got to make sure that this is where we want to step that line. And it got more about slavery as the war went on. The North was more like, fuck you, no. And the South was more like, hell yeah, we want slaves. So the reason I say that, and I know I was just kind of doing drunk history. I get it. This is not a time for levity. But I actually meant that's kind of how it sounds to me. Because the states, when they filed their articles of secession, all of them stated slavery. Several stated it as the first reason. Now we are taught this as slaves' rights. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Now we are taught this as states' rights. It's all states' rights, states' rights. It wasn't really about slavery. It was about states governing themselves. All of those states cited slavery. And if I'm wrong, please let me know. I'll expect links and I'll expect you to cite your resources. So this is why it's so contentious. And this is why Black Americans are like, take those fucking flags down. And it's not just Black Americans. I'm like, take those fucking flags down. We need to remember that this happened, but we don't need to throw it in people's face. Secondarily, the statues, because these guys want to save the statues because they're history. Those statues were put up. And when I say those statues, I apologize. During the Black Lives Matter protests, a lot of Confederate statues were pulled down. Most of those statues were not put up during the Confederate War. Those statues were taken down right after the Confederate War because they fucking lost. These are statues that were put up in the 19-teens through like the 1940s, sometimes into the 50s. And they were literally a symbol to remind people of the glory of the South and that it was coming back. This was to tell our Black citizens that they better step into line because things were coming back to the way they were before the Confederates lost. They were not put up to memorialize people in the South at the time of the American Civil War. They were put up at least 50 years later. The one in Denton was from 1918. It's been moved. And a lot of them have been moved to museums. That's where we put our history. We don't keep statues. Statues get changed all the time. Monuments do get changed. They don't stay there with horrific oppressors. They're supposed to glorify people who make things better in your country. I mean, of course, yes, sometimes there are some left behinds, but this is the problem with the statues. Now, I'm going to show you the specific tie that to me is very fucking racist, and that is Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm trying not to show this person's face. Sue Tennessee over the removal of Forrest bust from Capitol. We're about to go see who Forrest is. I want you to see this date, August 28th, 2020. Now, the Sons of Confederate Veterans renounced the KKK in 1989. You need to understand that. They renounced the KKK. When you renounce, do you keep statues? Do you keep statues when you fully renounce? Now, this is about a bust in the Tennessee state capitol of Lieutenant General Nathan Bedford Forrest. Right, Confederate general. Well, you know what else he was? He was the first motherfucking Grand Wizard of the KKK. This organization is fighting to keep the Grand Wizard, the first Grand Wizard of the KKK, to keep a bust of him in a public fucking place. You tell me that's not a racist tie. You tell me that's not a racist tie. Also, and I don't have the article, goddammit, I didn't pull it out. The North Carolina chapter had a goal, I forget if it was 2018, 2019, I forget what year the goal was, to put a Confederate flag. No, I think it was during the Black Lives Matter. I think it was last year. A Confederate flag in every single county in North Carolina. To put one up. This is not heritage. This is propagation. This is adding those symbols back to say, oh no, you don't. We're against this progress and you better fall back in line. That is not the actions or the behavior of an organization that truly renounced the fucking KKK and is just there for heritage. These are people who are trying to push that heritage back out into the US, that we are fighting so hard to have our citizens truly be equal. We can't have our citizens truly be equal while these organizations are allowed to not just to exist, because I get your heritage. I get there's a place in history. Hell yeah, there's a fucking place in history. But when I'm researching this and I read about a high-level person in the organization whose title I can't remember because I closed the window and I'm not willing to go back and find it because I just gave me the heebie-jeebies, that considers the years since the Civil War just a break they're taking until they get back to the fucking Civil War, it's terrifying. I digress. Here's an article by Slate that I will also add into the whatever information box. Guardians of White Innocence. There are several articles done while this organization is claiming over and over again that they have no racist ties. And in fact, they can point to a situation, one that I found, where they stopped an issue with the KKK. Literally, physically stopped an issue with the KKK. They're going to hold up their 1 or 2 black members as we can't be racist. We have black friends. Sound familiar? I can't be racist. I have a black friend. Motherfucker, you can still be fucking racist. What do you... Ah! Anyway. So that is the story. And I've deleted it. I'm sorry, I got myself all sputtery. I have deleted the interview I had with Brandon. I first unlisted it because I knew how to do that. It was from my phone quickly, and I couldn't remember where the delete was, so it is now deleted. It's gone, doesn't exist. You will not find it on my channel. You'll not be able to research it later. If you clicked it, it's not unlisted. It's not private. It's not there. It's gone. It was my most popular interview, but I cannot, even if there's a question, y'all, I can't say 100% that we have a bona fide, full-on KKK loving racist here, but there's a question. And I'm not willing to have someone with that much of a question or any question in my YouTube. I'm just not going to. I'm not willing to do that. I am in support of the marginalized. I am in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. I am in support of ending hate against Asian people in this country. My God, what the fuck is wrong with us? That's a totally different video. I can't even talk about that here because I will fucking go crazy. I feel like I've gone crazy enough. This is what's happening. And this is why, well, this one's from 2017. Okay, that's 3 years old. This is why somebody who has been a card-carrying member of this organization for 6 years is not clear of racism, in my personal opinion. I feel like, and this is opinion, this whole video has to be counted as opinion. Yes, I showed you some things that are, I think, factual evidence, but again, do your own research. And when someone tells you that they think someone might be racist, it's good to research for yourself, because we don't want to go overboard and just call someone racist when they're not, because that's quite an allegation and that can take them down. I promise you, Sonsombre has been taken down in a lot of places. But we also don't want to just let it go. Research it. Believe people until you can actually prove them wrong. And stop putting the fucking emotional and research labor. Wow, you can tell I'm getting all again. Stop putting the emotional and research labor completely on the people who say there might be a problem. Do it yourself. Learn to defend your arguments properly. Defend them with facts. Defend them with a reasonable argument. Because I've seen reasonable arguments that tell me that the chances of racist ties are way too high. That's too much risk for me. I'm not taking that risk. I am not going to risk the people in my world who matter to me. I'm not going to risk the marginalized, because I see you, I support you, And if I have to help you fight, I will lift you up and I will help you as best I can. So, for the trolls who are going to come in and start talking about Sandy Hook, you know I'm going to delete you. But for the people who are going to come in and spew all over, if you disagree, I can handle disagreement. I can totally handle disagreement. I can rationally handle it and back up with facts. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And I will come back and I will eat a whole lot of crow and apologize and bow and scrape to that apology. But if you're going to put arguments on there for the sake of hurt, if your comment is meant to hurt, if your comment is abusive, if it is meant to hurt, I will fucking delete it. This is not a democracy. This is a benevolent dictatorship. Fucking YouTube is a private company, and this is a private channel on a private company. When you talk about the First Amendment freedom of speech, that's fucking government. That is not this channel. This is my opinion. If YouTube thinks that it needs to be taken down, fine, it needs to be taken down. But if your comment is meant to hurt, it will be deleted. Because I am in support of the BIPOCs, the LGBTQIA++, and the marginalized. And I will be in support of the marginalized until my last breath. So hey, I have no fucking idea where my video thing is to stop the recording. Found it. So hey, thanks for watching.